Hi everyone, in this video I'll show you how to install Visual Studio 2022 Community Edition on Windows operating system. Then I'll also show you how to make connection with SQL Server instance. So let's get started. So the first step is to check if your machine meets the minimum system requirement. So have Windows 10 home operating system and up with 64-bit, 32-bit is not supported, and have RAM at least 4 GB. And also you need to have administrator privilege to perform the installation. And it is also recommended that first you run Windows updates before the installation to ensure your system is secure and has the required components for Visual Studio. Now let's move to the installation process. First, we need to download the Visual Studio installer from Microsoft website. So open your browser and type Visual Studio on the browser tab. Now on the first link that says visualstudio.microsoft.com, click on it. Now scroll down a little bit. Here under Visual Studio 2022 section, click this down arrow key next to the download. The community edition is free and open source. As you can see, when I put my cursor on it, it shows free for individual developers, academic users, and open source. So we are going to install community edition. The professional and enterprise editions are not free. So click on the community 2022 and save it on your machine. As you can see, the download task is done. Now go to your downloads folder and double click the installer. And if the app asks you a permission, click yes. Now to acknowledge Microsoft Privacy and License Agreement, click continue. As you can see, the Visual Studio installer is now installed. The next step is to install the components that you need for the programming language or the platform that you are using. So the workloads tab contains bundles of components that includes the most common features for a specific task. For example, if you are developing web application, then you can choose ASP.NET and web development workload. Or if you are working with Python, you may need to install Python development workload. And you can always modify your Visual Studio based on your need using Visual Studio installer later. Now make your selection. If you don't want to install bundle components using workloads tab, then you can use individual components tab and select the components that you want to install from here. Or you can also use this tab to add more components than the workload installs. Now click language packs tab. Here, as you can see, you can add additional language other than English. Now click installation locations tab. Now from here, you can change the location for the program files, or you can leave the default as is and it will install it under C drive. Once you have made your selection, here on the installation details section, you can review the summary of the workload. Now at the bottom, you can click install to start the installation process with the default option install while downloading, or you can choose download all then install option. Now click install. The installation has now completed successfully. Click OK. Now you can close this window. Now, in order to make connection with SQL Server, first make sure the SQL Server instance is running on your machine. So to check if this SQL Server instance is running or not, open your Windows PowerShell app, open it as administrator. Now type this command. As you can see, my SQL Server instance on my machine is not running. So to restart the instance, type this command. Now if I run the previous command again, as you can see, my SQL Server instance is now running. Now, in order for the changes to take effect, you need to reboot your machine. So I'll be back again. Now to start Visual Studio application, open the Start menu, click this Windows icon. Now scroll a little bit down until you see the Visual Studio 2022 shortcut folder. Now click Visual Studio 2022. Here, you can sign in if you have already account, or you can create a new account. It is free, but I'm gonna click this, skip this for now. Here you can customize your themes. Now under the development settings, if you click this little down arrow key, you can customize your development environment that suits for your specific type of development work. Now click Start Visual Studio to start the Visual Studio application. Here on the Get Started window, click Continue without code. Now click Tools tab and select Connect to Database. Now select Microsoft SQL Server. Under Data Provider, select Microsoft SQL Client Data Provider for SQL Server. You can leave this, always use this selection, or you can uncheck if you want. I'm gonna leave the default as is. Now click Continue. Now under Add Connection window, the data source should be Microsoft SQL Server in bracket Microsoft SQL Client. Under server name, if the SQL Server instance is on your local machine, you can use localhost or name of your laptop or PC. I'm going to use dot, which represents localhost. Under log on to the server, leave the default Windows authentication method. Now for encryption, leave mandatory true and make sure you check this box Trust Server Certificate. Now under connect to a database section, click this down arrow key. Now from here, you can select your database name. Now if I click this test connection tab, as you can see, I got test connection succeeded output. Click OK and click OK again. Thank you for watching.